I got clay! So I think around 80% of my costumes I have clay involved. Either I use them as a modeling, or I use it as a detail, or I use clay a lot. Usually I have been shopping at Pandor's Hobby, which is a creative store we have here in Denmark. It's just 10 minutes away from me, so it's very easy just to go there and buy some clay and get back home and start working with it. This time though, I'm not in a hurry to get started with clay, but I needed clay, so I started to research to see if I could find something cheaper. And then I found CC Hobby, which is a store I've been shopping from before. I was actually very satisfied. I found some clay, which is modeling clay. I'm used to working with silk clay, so it's a little bit different. But just as a comparison, 400 grams of silk clay in Pandora Hobby cost the same as a kilo of modeling clay at CC Hobby. So yeah, I'm really excited to get started working with this. If you guys want to check it out, I left the description down below. I think they ship worldwide, so even if you don't live in Denmark or around Scandinavia, I think you can check it out either way. Link in the description. So let's try it. There wasn't really that much of a difference working with silk clay or with modeling clay. The only difference that I could tell was that modeling clay would crack up easily if it wasn't moisturized. As soon as the clay was dry, I started to make a little border around it with clay again. And as soon as that would dry, I would place the model inside of the border and pour in some liquid latex. When I went to get the liquid latex, I dropped it. And I could see as soon as it started pouring that there were a lot of air in it, which I kind of suspected from the beginning. But I had my suspicions that it wouldn't, and I was right. There were so many bubbles in the mold, which I was really sad about. And then do the old-fashioned way of making molds, is instead of making a border and pour it in, I would just put a thin layer of liquid latex over it and wait until that was dry, and do that multiple times, which results in less use of latex. Now that I have two molds, I have this one, which was the pouring method. Even though there's a lot of bubbles in it, it doesn't really seem like it got that much of details. I'm not really sure why though. The good thing about this is that you don't have to balance the mold the same way as I have to do with the other one. This one pretty much can just be placed on the table, put in some resin, and then it will keep itself up. And there is this one, the old-fashioned way, which picked up a lot more detail than the other one. Not sure why, but it did. The only thing is that I need to make sure that it is balanced so it won't tip over and make like an uneven gem. I did this method a lot in the beginning when I was trying to figure out how resin was working. And this method worked with me 50% of the time, and other time it was just pour resin all over the place because it was tilting. So that's exciting. So now the casting part begins, which is super exciting. The product that I use is ClearCast, which is a product that I've used, I think, always. So the first thing you want to do is to warm up the resin and the hardener a little bit. So I take some really hot tap water in a bowl and put the resin and the hardener there. I do this to make sure that it's a lot more fluently, because otherwise there's a big chance there will be bubbles in your cast, and we don't want that. While the resin and the hardener is smoothing up a little bit, I'm going to prepare what to pour in it. The The resin and the hardener will pretty much ruin everything that you use, so don't use something that you would want to use afterwards. So first I measure to make sure that it is exactly 50-50. And I might have overestimated how much I needed, so I'm just gonna measure it one more time and just tap a little bit off instead. When I've measured the resin and the hardener, I'm going to mix them together. When you're mixing it together, make sure that you don't mix it too hard, because then there will be bubbles again and we don't want to do that. So just mix it very carefully. The next part is basically just to pour it in the mold. Just be careful that it won't overflow, and then you just have to wait for about 24 hours, perhaps a little longer, to see how it will look like. When you're done with the resin, the first thing you're thinking is pour it out into the drain. Don't do that, because it will clog everything. Don't do that. Instead, throw it out. Next time we'll see how the result will be, and I'm very excited about that. Thank you so much for sticking by. I hope you had fun. I did. Yeah. See you hopefully next time.